This is the first, the last, the nerdum, in quote, repeat line. Oh, hey, Mike, what's going on? This
I love
is
it.
Thomas, and
I'm
this
Mike.
is Mike.
Yep.
We're off script now. I
Yep.
was reading the script. You see how crap we are with the script. So we're throwing the script out. We're taking out the grab bag. We're just shaking it up and seeing what we could pull out of it.
Yep.
That being said, we do have a few things we want to talk about.
If you took our ages together, it would be about 80 years old or something like that. It would be over 80.
Yeah, it
like
could match up with someone that's
jab.
leading a certain country. So
Yeah, for
so
this week's grab bag, we got a big we got a lot of things to cover in the news, don't we?
Yeah, there's a lot of news, and then we also want to talk about the we had our picks for the weirdest superheroes. What do you want to hit up first, the news or weird superheroes?
I think we could. Oh, how much time do you want? Do you have you quick fire go down the line with a little bit of commentary after I show my list, if you want?
Oh well, what we could do is let's do our weirdest superheroes. I know we were supposed to pick 5 each. I picked 10 just in case we have some overlap.
Sure.
So I'm gonna let you pick one first, and then I'll throw, and then we'll do back and forth.
Yeah.
And then we'll spend as much time as we want on our superheroes.
Yeah,
and then at the
absolutely.
end we can kind of talk over what we got.
Yeah, mine, no surprise. But like Dazzler. I remember reading about this is X-Men. Pretty lame.
Dazzles, yeah.
Yeah. Very, very similar in the mind of, and why I had this on the brain was I watched the boys, and they have a character on there called Starlight, and it's the same kind of sort. Well, it's kind of the same thing with Dazzler. Either a combo of Dazzler and Jubilee, but anyway, the same kind of like kind of weird, whatever.
Yeah.
Like never quite makes it. Oh, that's right. The was the sound vibrations into light and into energy. Yeah. So, and Starlight doesn't do anything at that. She's more the Jubilee character. But anyway, kind of like more like that's kind of weird, you know. There not much to say. And then
the interesting thing is we didn't go over which superheroes we're going to cover. And actually when back in the day, my younger sister, her favorite Marvel character was Dazzler. So it's kind of an interesting pick. And then she was sort of like the disco queen at one time in Marvel, right. And she had the roller skates, and the disco ball was prominent in her. She was like a singer at one point, and sort of a pop star until they found out she was a damn beauty.
Right. Yeah. And this is definitely not like the original Dazzler kind of thing, and kind of disappointed they don't have the disco one up, to be honest with you. But February 1980 when she debuted. Yeah, there we go. That's more whatever. It's kind of weird.
There's more or less her. Yeah, they're on her full disco. That picture of her under the origins of Dazzler. Yeah, and that covers more more of her speed back in the day in the 80s.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, she became more of a serious character when Chris Claremont brought her into the X-Men series in the late 80s, early 90s. Okay. She changed into like a more of a blue outfit. But yeah, she was Chris Claremont. He was always interested in taking in sort of the odd characters and making them more realistic and more interesting. Maybe Dazzler was maybe less so, but yeah, he did try to make her more of an interesting character than what she was.
Yeah, and then just not much to say on that one, and I don't know why I had I don't know why I had Rocksteady and Bebop. I had Ninja Turtles on the brain. Booster Gold is one that I had that was kind of weird. It was like it kind of changes over time. I think it changes over time, but it's just like, he's just kind of like a tech thing, nothing special. But not much there. But it's more of like a Avenger or not, excuse me, Justice League, like oh gosh, C-list, lower tier guy. And I was trying to think of see the one in the animated series. It's a little bit more, he's proffered as more of like a little bit more, not like this is the actual serious comic book take on him, like his animated one was the one I was more or less thinking of, like, and I think it's just kind of like, anyway, it's just like not much, but
he's kind of a sillier kind of superhero.
Just
So
not much.
That's your second one.
Yeah. And then although I it kind of cheated a little bit here with this being a villain, but the Blob was always kind of weird to me.
That's okay. I ran into the same problem. There was like so many of them that I wanted to pick that were villains, so it was like well, maybe, I don't know.
Right. And this is loose and fast here, so we're not like we're all not well, you were never a dungeon, excuse me. God damn it. A Dungeons and Dragons nerd, were you?
I tried to be, and then I tried to talk my cousin into it, and then his family was very religious, and so we spent a weekend at our grandparents' house, and we went out in the woods and played Dungeons and Dragons, and then till we got tired and we came back in the house and actually maybe did a little bit light role playing with the dice and whatnot, and then we went back home, and then later he told me that he told his parents about it, and they ended up burning all of their Dungeons and Dragons stuff.
Oh no.
And I was like, why didn't you give that to me?
Yeah.
Burn it up. But yeah.
Yeah, no, I never got into it. I just never grew up. I just didn't have friends that did. Or if they did, they were more like the band nerds than and I rolled with a different group of nerds growing up. But anyway, the Blob is one that I found. But his thing is he's just a big fat guy, and he's like Peter Griffin. Like if Peter Griffin had superpowers, this would be Peter Griffin, essentially, like that. But
yeah, and this is I would like to point this out as a telling point, as like I've always been somewhat overweight, and I never identified with Blob. If we always aspire to be better, and that's why he fits more as a villain, because we don't see ourselves that way, and we don't aspire to be like that. So there's this whole big push for representation, and looking like the way you really are, and whatnot. This is sort of like a pointer to the fact that we don't want that.
right.
I would, even though I am overweight, I would rather look like Captain America. I'd rather identify with Captain America as opposed to the Blob.
right. Yeah, but not much to say. Like I think I didn't really read too many comic book storylines with him in it, other than like maybe in passing. But again, this is like one where the X-Men animated series in the early 90s. They did him all right. I believe he was on that one. And then the final one I had was Jubilee. Like I just like this is one that I did read quite a bit, and I just thought it was kind of weird. Like I always thought, of course I had my own views, but I thought that Jubilee was always kind of lame a little bit, and silly, weird, like not really like, again, Starlight, the analog being Starlight, like where, like what do they say her thing is? But it's just like pyrotechnic energy blast. That's about it. But I'm sure there's a lot of folks that really like this, and of course, again, was also in the X-Men animated series as well.
Yeah, Jubilee was well, there was originally there was Kitty Pryde, who was Shadowcat. She was sort of like the teenage companion of Wolverine.
Right.
Chris Claremont, the writer, liked to kind of saddle Wolverine with the teenage girl for that that kind of contrast.
Right.
And then when Kitty Pryde kind of grew up a little bit older, he decided that to kind of put Jubilee as the spunky teenage girl that was kind of kind of paired up with Wolverine and this. And I always liked the Kitty Pryde matchup better than Jubilee, but Jubilee wasn't a bad
no, not at all. Like in the I agree with you in the comic books. I agree with you in the animated series. Like they did, Jubilee was kind of like it was fairly well done, I guess. I don't know, like that was one I always remember watching. But just kind of like it serves as a distraction, I guess, along those lines. But I didn't rack my brain too hard, but I'll let you go into yours, and you can feed them to me here or there.
Yeah. So yeah, when I looked at the weirdest superheroes, I went a little off kilter. So you tell me when to stop.
Sure.
I'll start with a big one here. I just sent it to you. Danny the Street.
All right, here we go. Pulling it up now. Here we go. Danny the Street.
Okay. Yeah, he's from Doom Patrol.
Oh my God! Of course you would. See, this wasn't even fair because like you've got the comic book shit on lock for sure, but that's okay. Like I've learned my comic book knowledge has friggin' gone light years. But anyway, so this is an actual thing, huh?
Yeah, it's an actual street. That's
awesome. That's a great one.
Yeah, it's in Doom Patrol. It can appear anywhere. It's a sentient street that can take your superheroes anywhere that they want to be, but it's actually an entity in and of itself. The Doom Patrol TV series actually featured Danny in I think season 1 and 2. So if you want to see a little bit more of Danny as far as a visual media on TV, then he's there. I think he's a little bit more flamboyant in the TV show, but yeah, he's an interesting character. But he's a street, so there's not a whole lot to say about him. So we'll go on to
poor guy. Always gets he just walk all over him.
Yeah, just walk over, run all over him. And then,
what was the thing is if you're a kid and you had a particularly prickly adult that didn't want you around, they would say, why don't you go play in a busy street? Nobody would dare say that nowadays.
No, they would not. All right, I sent you the next one, Matter Eater Lad.
Awesome. Okay. Interesting. Huh.
He eats matter. He's an alien that eats matter. There's one picture of him eating stuff. I don't know if you can scroll down to it, but that image of him just eating stuff just got me. If you keep scrolling, it looks like they keep trying to reintroduce the character. They kind of make him a little bit cooler looking, but he just eats stuff. So
that's funny.
Don't know if and I didn't I've read Danny. I haven't read Matter Eater, but this next one I'm gonna send you is near and dear to my heart. I read this comic book as a kid and absolutely loved it. Just go ahead and pull it up whenever you're ready.
Captain Carrot.
Yeah. Captain Carrot and the Zoo Crew. And the Captain Carrot has actually reappeared in a lot of the multiverse stuff that they're doing lately in DC. But yeah, it was a comic book group, or yeah, it's a superhero group that was made up of various animals. You had Captain Carrot, you had a duck that kind of looked like a Daffy Duck, and they did cross over and helped out Superman, so it is definitely canon with the DC characters. So
That's
and
cool.
like I said, he's the Captain Carrot it has showed up recently in some of the multiverse stuff that they're doing. But yeah, I don't know, the series didn't go on very long. I think it was for like 12 issues or something like that, but I got all of them, and I absolutely loved the series as good as you would imagine a kid would love something like that. Let's
yeah,
see.
for sure.
And then I'll send you my next one. This one I had never heard of before, but he sounds a little interesting.
Okay. I wonder why. That's funny.
The Whizzer.
That's so funny. Has super speed powers. Okay.
Yeah,
Interesting.
and guess where the Whizzer gets his powers from?
Says he gets an infusion of mongoose blood.
Oh, mongoose blood, yes.
All right. I was gonna say this one, just the name and the heirs. I was gonna say the 1940s, because that sounds exactly like what.
Yeah.
Like, all right, guys, come on, we got to come up with something. What could it be? How about the Whizzer?
Yeah, and guess where he's from? He's from St. Louis, Missouri.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Scroll down. Fictional character biography. Yeah, and
born in St. Louis. Oh,
yeah. Roy Thomas, one of our favorite comic book writers, he tried to redeem the character a little bit, because he's actually from St. Louis, Missouri as well. And but yeah, he kind of redeemed Amy in some later issues, and I think the character ended up dying in some later issues, and I think he had more of a redemptive death. So so he's not not as goofy as his name may suggest. And actually, when I was reading the biography there, it looks like at one point they thought maybe Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver was his children. So
interesting.
so yeah. But they found out that was not true.
Well, well, you never know how Marvel might Disney Marvel might recycle, although let's
that
just
could
hope
be
that
their next blockbuster.
let's just hope that we're both well into our 90s here when it comes to if they ever have to get to that level of using
Yep. All right, and I sent you another one. I think I'm going over my 5, but I have a few
that's
more.
Okay. We'll do this one, and
then this one, and actually two more after this one.
Yeah, let's do that. Fruit Boy. Okay.
Yeah, Fruit Boy. He can ripen fruit. That's a superpower.
All right then.
Yeah.
Boy.
We'll let that load up there. Yeah, there he is. He's he tried to get in the League of Superheroes, but he was rejected.
Yeah.
I wonder why. I wonder why.
That's funny.
And let's see. I think this one's my particular favorite. Let me go ahead and send it to you. He has his own website that I'm sharing with you. the
Herbie Popnecker.
yeah, the Fat Fury, Herbie Popnecker.
That's funny.
He licks his lollipop and he gets his powers from his lollipops. And he, from what I can I understand, his he could pretty much do anything with his lollipop. So
That's funny. That's funny.
yeah,
Huh.
he's I think from the 40s or 50s, but yeah. Yeah, if you go to examples of reoccurring themes, you click on that, you can get some more images of the Fat Fury. If you scroll through that, but yeah.
That's ideas. That's so funny. American Hero School. It's funny. Travels back in time, lollipops, and even sleeping. These are special life. Okay, so he's got special like themed ones with the toilet plunger on his head. That's hilarious. That's funny.
Yeah. Yeah. I like I said, I think he's my favorite. And even though I said I don't usually identify with fat guys, I think I would make the exception and identify with the Fat Fury.
That's awesome. I gotta refresh my chat window here. Cool.
And then the last one I'm going to introduce you to is I just sent it to you.
Dog welder.
Yep. And if
okay.
I'm sure you guys may be familiar with a little show called The Boys. That was created by Garth Ennis. Well, he had another comic book called Hitman. If you like The Boys, if you like the raunchy humor of The Boys, you might want to check out Hitman. Basically, it was a hitman that was set in the universe of DC, and he was hired to take out some superheroes. And one of the superheroes that he faced was the dog welder, who basically welds dogs to villains.
That's crazy.
And
I can imagine this one would draw the ire of PETA for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
I think so. And then the more the low-hanging fruit that I could have picked was say Howard Duck, of course, or say there is Thor Frog. At one point Thor became a frog.
Yep, he did.
I could have picked out, but yeah. So I don't think we should pick now. I think we should let the audience pick, have a say. So those people out there in the audience, if you have your favorite pick, go ahead and let us know. I'm leaning towards Fat Fury. I don't know who you think is your favorite, Mike.
I gotta say, Fruit Boy is probably.
Yeah, Fruit Boy.
Probably leaning into that one, but I don't know. The Whizzer, just
Whizzer's good too.
Not a bad power set, but definitely not a Flash.
Yeah, and he's from St.
Sure.
Louis, which we've all spent time in. So
yes, we have.
Could be a home favorite. So yeah, if you want to weigh in on the chat and say in comments and help us decide which is our favorite, go ahead.
Absolutely. I was just going to add something to my thing. All right. All right. So with that out of the way, that was fun. Well, yeah, please let us know what your pick is for the weirdest superhero dog welder.
Yeah,
that is a Garth. That is now that I know. I mean, I don't know, but what I've been introduced to, like, what I've read over the years, and just so happened to be Garth Ennis, like that is something he would do.
Yep.
For sure. All right. So in the news, we got a big block of news this week. what do you have what do you have up here
yeah, the
or what do you want to cover first there
yeah,
here
that's good.
okay, cool.
Periodical comic sales. Everybody's excited. Comic books are selling like crazy. We're way up, and I have to say, kind of on that.
Hmm.
Just because they're they're claiming it as a win that comic books are doing better than they ever have
Mhm.
with the Comic-Con uh sales figures, and you have to put an asterisk by that. uh that's not because of direct sales comic books from Marvel and DC. The biggest percentage of those are, you got to keep in mind that they also included manga, which is
Oh,
huge,
you can't do
and
that. You
and
can't do that. You can't do that.
in
Or they can't do that.
YA graphic novels.
Okay,
And
young adult. Yep.
there's yeah, young adult graphic novels. There's like one or two authors in that sells like millions. I forget the big name that does it, but she does stuff like she did like a graphic novel about getting braces or something, and that sells like millions of copies.
Hmm.
So that kind of bolsters the sales. And also, if you remember back during the pandemic, the biggest the only provider for direct sales comic books was Diamond. And then when the pandemic happened, Diamond just shut down, and DC was like, oh well, we can't do this, we can't,
Okay,
and so
I see where you're
yeah,
driving.
they
Yeah.
started up their own uh
Publishing,
distribution, yeah,
distribution. Yeah.
their own distributing system outside of Diamond. So Comic-Con gets their numbers through Diamond. So
Huh.
so Marvel still sells through Diamond, and you can still order through Diamond for DC. They've
Hmm.
kind of set that up later on, but the bulk of the sales don't always come through Diamond. So basically what Comic-Con is doing is taking what they know about as far as sales that they have, they're kind of extrapolating them to what they think it is.
Right.
So
Okay.
it's all kind of what
Smoke and
Bush
mirrors a
used to
little bit.
call, yeah, what Bush used to call fuzzy math. It's sort of like fuzzy math. I I don't I wouldn't you know.
And these are only US numbers, right?
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the manga, my understanding was manga is its own category and it does in
Mhm.
excess of several times of
Mhm.
what comic books do
Yeah.
in American,
Yeah,
like
there's
manga
certain,
is
yeah,
like
there's
billions of dollars, and like
Mhm.
America,
Mhm.
we're not in billions of dollars
Yeah.
anymore for how it is.
Yeah,
That's my understanding.
there's certain titles of manga that outsells the complete the complete US market of
Okay.
comic books.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
yeah, it's crazy. So so yeah, this article means nothing.
Yeah.
It's just sort of like a pat on the back and saying, "Hey, we're doing good," but
Well, and
I
of course, every sale is up. Like, and you drive the point home, like where it is cheating because like during COVID, there was nothing. It's easy to have double, triple, whatever. 100% from if it goes from 1 to 2, it's a 100% increase. Yeah, not
Mhm.
really.
Yeah, and also a little bit more of a deep dive into this. We won't go too deep, so we won't bore you too much. But when say Marvel or DC sells to a comic book shop, they sell with no returns. So say they sell, a comic book shop says, okay, well, I think I could sell 50 Wonder Woman comic books of this particular title. I'll order 50. Well, if they don't actually sell those 50 comic books, they're stuck with them.
Okay.
They put them in the the back issue bin, so maybe they'll be able to sell them later on. But
Okay.
if it's not a popular issue, and they're just kind of stuck with it. So as
Right.
far as sales, it's what they're counting is sales to the comic book
Retailer.
company. Yeah, the retailer. So
Okay.
it's not actually to the customer. So it's kind of kind of fuzzy math there too. And then you also have to factor in, we love to talk about the variant covers, like, there's the special variant cover that you could only get if you buy 50 of the regular cover. So you're buying 50 of the regular cover for that special variant cover that they could sell at a premium price. Well, who knows if they can actually sell those 50 issues that they actually bought by the regular issue. So yeah, there's always that the cards seem to be stacked against the comic book the comic book local comic book store, as far as selling these comic books. So I don't envy their position on things.
No, not at all. That's interesting. That's interesting. Like I always kind of wondered about that, but
Hmm.
excuse
Yeah,
me.
yeah, you definitely have to be kind of savvy with that. And that's one of the reasons why I like my particular comic book store. They seem to be able to play things and kind of monitor the market and be able, because and they don't overstock stuff that if you don't get there the day of or the day after, a lot of
You're
times
not
they
getting it.
sell out. Yeah, they sell out of particular issues.
Well,
So
and that's fair because they got to make a dime, and
mhm.
you just can't
Yeah,
have.
absolutely.
Well, and this is kind of fishy. So these numbers are kind of fishy. Like wherever you see a streaming service and they actually release data,
Hmm.
they're only releasing what they want you to see, essentially. Like
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah, okay, yeah, it's kind of sort of objective, but not really. It's very subjective. Like
Hmm.
that's where and of course nobody's going to tell you like what the truth is, like if you actually saw the numbers. Of
Hmm.
course we're in a new era too, but anyway, okay,
Yep.
that's cool. So
Since we're talking about hard truth, let's go to the next topic.
yeah,
Let's go to PlayStation.
absolutely, yeah. What's up with PlayStation? So they're not going to carry. It was just a spat where they're not going to carry a
Well,
thing
we
or
we talk about digital
distribution.
digitally owned movies. Do you really own a digital movie? You don't.
No.
And this shows you. And this is, I think, only in Germany and Austria. But I think a lot of the titles from Studiocanal,
Hmm.
they lost the rights to those. So they're taking those from the people's stored movies. So if you
Hmm.
bought those movies in Germany or Australia, those are no longer in your library.
Yeah, you
Those
didn't
are
buy it.
snatched.
You
Yep.
bought a temporary license for
You
10
bought
years
your
for
access. Yeah.
yeah, for 5 years for
Hmm.
this, like you
Hmm.
rented it essentially.
Hmm.
Like that's the like
Hmm.
more the cynical take on it.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
I actually got bit by this too. Years and years ago when Apple was kind of coming online with their iTunes and whatnot,
Hmm.
I bought some of my favorite ones that I like to buy.
Hmm.
And it was like it was the Man with No Name
Hmm.
series. And it was fistful of dollars or a few dollars more. Like one of
Hmm.
them, I
Yeah.
noticed like one day,
Classics.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, one day when I logged in to just check my movies. I think I had an Apple device, and I was like looking to see my movies. They've always been there, and lo and behold, one was missing. And I got really mad.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
I called up
Absolutely.
the customer service at Apple, and I said, "What's going on with this? Like, that's not cool. You didn't even tell me that you were going to take it away."
Hmm.
And then I complained, and I guess something happened with the rights or something, and they renegotiated. And when they renegotiated, I wasn't eligible to get that back, but I complained, and they actually gave it back. So, but you know what? Who the hell, like, so you can even call anybody now. Like that was back when you could still kind of sort of get a hold of somebody. And for all I know, you still can at
Yep.
Apple. I have no idea, but like
Hmm.
screw that. Like that, this is
Yep.
just and I'm not going to say it because we want to we keep it all clean here, but you know, this is begging you know, the savvier technical folks to do certain things to you know, have something on hand if they want to watch it, you know, and they
Yeah.
you know, it's
Yeah.
not defensible,
Yeah.
but it's
Right.
they do it to themselves. I mean, the studios.
Or if you're like me and like physical media, like my copy of Police Story and Police Story 2, which we talked about on our podcast. So check that out if you like Jackie Chan. But
Absolutely.
yeah, they can't take this from me unless they break down my door and take it from me physically.
Right.
Which I may or may not have a gun ready for them. So, but yeah, that's I've always been a proponent for physical media. I have plenty of them. So if you love a particular movie, I don't buy everything physically, obviously.
No.
But if I particularly love a movie, this way, you know, if later on someone thinks, well, there's a scene that's maybe not politically correct, maybe we should cut it out of that particular movie, they can from your digitally owned movie, but they can't from this physical copy. So
Yank it.
so yeah, so this and I have a Blu-ray copy of my some Looney Tune cartoons, and I know they always get lambasted with you know, whether or not it's politically correct. So it's always good to have, you know, your copies of physical media that
Yeah.
you love. Yeah.
Yeah, I know a couple. I know one friend I had, and they had the Disney Song of the South, and of course, I don't believe you can watch that. Bear with me.
No, you can't. No, that's been put way so far back in the Disney vault that I think you would you just can't get to it.
No, you can't. But they had a VHS copy of it, and they would every once in a while put it on and watch it. You know, but of course, it's a different era, different time. You know.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
And modern corporations and Disney whitewash everything anyway. So because there's a sheen, a corporate image, and all that. But anyway, and this kind of goes into show like have a backup plan. And I don't know. I think Canada, Europe, and those type countries have better mechanisms because they actually allow you to back up your media digitally. Or onto different media. And I think there's actually a tax that I think the UK has one built in, like whenever you buy a blank CD or DVD, and this is years ago, but I remember they actually have specific exemptions in that, like where in the United States is a little bit more murky with that because you have the DRM and things to prevent you from, you know, format shifting like what you have, but which you have every right to. But again, this kind of goes back to the general thing. You don't actually own it. You're buying the license.
Absolutely.
To have it for a certain period of time. But unlike physical media, which can last forever or damn near it as far as, you know, lifetime for sure.
Yeah, as long as your lifetime. I mean,
well, right.
Yeah, you're not going to be passing this on generation to generation.
No. Well, this is just like one of those things. But like, and this kind of goes hand in hand with like you know, like some older games. Some older games are shutting down. I think I saw a headline. I can't remember the series of games, but they're going to be I want to say they're like Tom Clancy games or something like that, like where they're just going to go bye-bye.
Yeah, there's so many MMOs that have stopped, you know, that no longer exist that you can't play anymore, and that's just, you know, media that are non-existent. And yeah, that you bring up a really great point that video games are like a very under attentive media where, you know, it's dedicated to certain systems or whatnot, and once those systems die and aren't supported anymore, certain games just disappear. And you know, maybe it's not a great loss if Goof Troop you can't play that anymore, but there's certain games that have artistic value that are lost due to systems dying, or
Hmm.
they're the internet infrastructure doesn't support it anymore.
Right. And you only
That's
get that if there's like a cadre of fans that just love it,
Mhm,
and then they'll
mhm,
do they'll do the coding
mhm,
and nerd work, and they'll
mhm,
like be able to like whatever. Now there are emulators and there's some games that will
mhm,
never die,
mhm.
but like
Yeah,
there's going to be a whole lot more that are lost. Like
right, absolutely.
you'll never be able to play them again, like,
Mhm,
but that kind of
right,
goes hand in hand with it. But
right.
anyway, that just reminds me of that. So,
Yeah.
but moving on.
Yeah, let's move on to the next topic. S- click on to that one. Yeah, the
Okay. I had
just
heard about
just
this
to re-
through the YouTube channels that I followed. They had some very pointed commentary on it for this too.
Yeah, yeah, this is looks
They
like
still haven't
we're
backed it. Holy shit. It's been out for a month, over a month now,
yeah.
I think.
Yeah, they tried to make a Reva a thing, the third sister.
Yeah.
If you are a long time watcher of us, I've talked about Kenobi series in the past. She's a very annoying character that that Disney Star Wars tried to make her as the next thing, and they wanted to make a new series about her. And to really launch it off, they thought, well, let's sell her a lightsaber. And it looks like with 3 hours left, according to the webpage, they are vastly underfunded for it. And this just kind of shows that the fans, if you can't engage the fans aren't going to be there for you.
Yeah, this kind of goes into like, and I guess we'll do that. We can jump into our soapbox because this has kind of stirred some feelings on my
Mhm.
side of some just commentary in general, and like
Oh, and
just general observations. But yeah, this
just
is
to,
part of the
just
part of
to
it.
just to introduce our audience, we have a new thing called Mike and Tom's soapbox,
Yes, we do.
somewhat fashioned after Stan Lee's soapbox. Basically, we're going to push out the soapbox, and one of us will stand on it and talk ad nauseum about the particular subject. I think Mike wants to get up there and talk about this.
Yeah, this kind of just this is just going to be a really quick soapbox one, but like just observing since we've been doing this podcast, and it's been about 6-7 months or so, like whatever it was when we started. It's been a minute,
Mhm,
been more than a minute, been a couple minutes, but because of that, like I've kind of taken to looking and viewing at these things with a wider lens of just like, oh,
mhm,
I like it, I hate it, or somewhere in between, or like whatever. And I think we're kind of seeing the drawdown of Disney Marvel and Disney Star Wars. I think that there is this only so much it's the mine is damn near tapped out, at least for this point in time.
mhm,
And I know that this is kind of being a recurring theme, but this is just goes to show part of it. Like, I'm not going to get into like, did this suck? Did that suck? I will say openly that I kind of have new rules that I abide by now with some of this newer stuff. Like if there's for Kenobi, okay, whatever. I didn't watch all of it. I live vicariously through you and through Red Letter Media and some other folks. Some more negative takes than that, but really it was decent. But I did watch the last episode, but I didn't watch it. And what I mean by that is all I care about is the lightsaber fight. That's it. Don't care about this one or that one or whatever. So it's just like, you know what? I'm going to scrub through it and just see the part that I care. You had the very last scene where you had, Force Ghost and all that. And that's really all I was interested in, to be honest with you.
mhm,
And I wasn't disappointed. They did a fight scene. Like I personally think that the one on Mustafar was better, but that's just me. But it
mhm,
didn't suck at all, like the lightsaber fight. And then I also watched the one, like they had a couple episodes before that, where they kind of show they do it, and then they anyway, but or they had an interaction. That's what it was. And but
mhm,
anyway, this kind of just I guess my soapbox point is like, but like you've already exhausted the super fans. You've exhausted them a long time ago. now you're I don't quite know where they're driving at for this thing, but this kind of reminds me, this particular thing reminds me of like when there were signs that there was kind of fatigue there, and like where they want you, and it's not anything related to politics or whatever. That it's all it is. If you just cut it simply, it's, you know, I kind of joke about the message, but really what it's about is they want a new revenue stream, and they can only get a new revenue stream if they have new characters, fresh blood, whatever. Hence the killing off of original characters and whatnot. And this kind of reminds me of, and we've covered this loosely, or we've covered channels that have covered this directly, where like, you know, you have your Rey Star Wars figures, the toys, the costumes and stuff never really took off like they wanted it to. And this is just another part of that too. That like where there's just like there's demand here. And I think it was one of the YouTube channels that you recommended but he kind of goes in depth, and he actually goes really in depth on like how this is the Hasbro special edition, and they had talked about the Rancor, like but it's sold out, like, but it's still sold out. Like it looked like doo-doo or something like that. I don't know, but I could care less one way or another. But this is kind of just goes on to that. But that's that's just it for that. It's just like,
and
you can't force feed us stuff unless like people are really into it and it's organic. And like Star Wars for better for worse was lightning in a bottle. You know.
Yeah, and like you said, organic. And then just in case our audience aren't aware of it, HasLab is basically Hasbro. They have the license for Star Wars stuff, and the HasLab is basically it's sort of like Kickstarter. They try to raise it's items that they don't think would sell in the store, but if they think you know, they try to cater to the fans, and they think, well, okay, the fans will kind of want this, so if we get a certain number of fans to back it, we'll go ahead and produce it. So it's sort of like Kickstarter. They have to reach a target number of audience to actually produce it. And if you notice on here, their target is like 5,000, and they only reached 1.4 1.400
1.4K
1400 people basically, and they only have 3 minutes left on it. So I don't think they'll reach that, so they'll probably cancel this one. And basically, like Mike was saying, there's I think a fatigue for the audience for this stuff.
We're already seeing it with you know, Spider-Man was okay, Doctor Strange and the Multiverse was okay, but that you know, I'm just surprised that they wouldn't. I don't know, like I've heard mixed things about Thor, and I all I can say is whether it's good or bad, I don't really care. I'm not going to go to the theater and see it, and like I love Thor. I love that. That was like always been one of my favorite characters, kind of like in the pocket, like lesser known kind of characters, like with all that. And like, I don't know, man. Like, I don't know if it's fatigue for me. Well, I know what it is for me personally. Like, I only have so much time. And if I do sit down to read something or watch something or things of that nature, I want to be entertained. I just want a good story. It doesn't have to be knock my socks off. It can even be lame a little bit. But and God knows I like a bunch of dumb stuff that the normies don't like. But still, I don't know, man. I don't know that there's a cure for fatigue. There's no amount of money in the world that's going to cure that. And it has nothing again to do with politics or this or that. It's just like
absolutely
nobody's interested. Like, you've made stuff that like people just aren't jumping onto, you know?
And I talked about this with Mike before the podcast. I have a friend that she's all in on Marvel, and she's just your normie fan that just likes the movies and the shows, and she doesn't read the comic books, and she didn't like Miss Marvel, and she was disappointed by the new Thor movie, and that's a bad sign for your for your normie fan that doesn't like it. And I was kind of surprised with the Thor, because I was kind of looking forward to it in the fact that TTYTiki,
Yep.
he's one of my favorite filmmakers. He's a great director and writer, and he does comedy well. But from all I hear from the new Thor movie, that the humor of it does not land. It's too much in it, and it just doesn't carry the movie.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it yet, so I'll
Right.
reserve our final judgment until I see it. But yeah, the from what people have said before, it doesn't look good.
Yeah, and then that reminds me of what my brother-in-law has made an observation about. He's my best friend, and we have a similar dialogue, and we talk about these things here and there. And you know, he made the observation, like, you know, like, yeah, Star Wars is like one of those things that like everybody knows about, you know, like everybody knows about it. Everybody, like, your suburban moms wear them, you know, wear Star Wars. They've never seen a cut of anything, you know, like the normies. But the thing is that you need for these things to go, you need the super fans. You need the super fans that drag their loved ones, their girlfriends that have never seen it, their boyfriends that have never seen it. Like, you need those people to drag them in front of this and like experience that, because you know, that's kind of the nature of it. And I remember forcing my fiance at the time to watch like the prequels were in the theaters, and like she had never seen any of the original Star Wars and was very proud of that to a certain degree. And we all sat down and watched them and caught up and all this and the other. That thing, but like without the things, normies aren't going to stick around. Like there's nothing there to, unless like Junior, little Tim or Johnny or Jane, you know, has something that they care about. You know, like they're just not gonna, you need that glue. You lose that glue. You've effectively alienated an entire section of the thing. But anyway, I'm just going.
Yeah, and then I think I'll step up on the soapbox next with the Kraven, and then to build on what you just said, there's a news article about Craven the Hunter. That's going to be the Sony's next big movie,
Okay.
and the actor, the star that is going to play Craven the Hunter, says that he's going to be an animal lover and protector of the natural world. And that's not Craven. Craven is a hunter through and through. He hunts animals. He puts them on his wall. He wears them as his outfit, and he hunts Spider-Man because he's the biggest animal that he can hunt.
Right. That's their
And
natural interaction for
yeah,
sure. Yep,
and
their history.
that's the character. And so Sony, so the actor, I don't think they've actually filmed the movie yet, so maybe the actor doesn't have a clear understanding of the character. But if that's what Sony is going for, they do not understand the character. And if I could step up on the soapbox, I'll say you're turning off your core fans.
Stop doing that.
That's how I, it back in the day, back in the 80s and 90s, in the early 200s, when the studio would make a superhero hero movie, we weren't interested, because basically people were trying to cater to the biggest audience possible, and so they kind of degenerated the superhero to the basics so that anyone could relate to them. So it sort of devalued the character to the point where it really wasn't the character anymore. And it wasn't until Marvel with Kevin Feige said, no, we're going to create these characters and we're going to make movies where the core of the characters were essential to the story.
Right.
And so your Iron Man, your Thor, your Hulk, they were who they were, and that drew in the hardcore fan, and the hardcore fan, like Mike said, drew in their family, their friends. It was like, oh man, you got to see this. You had the built-in excitement for these characters, but if you turn against this, if you try to make these characters what they are not, you're turning off your core fans, and that makes you wonder, why did you buy this license to begin with if you're
Right.
not going to use it? If you want to create something new, create a new character. If you want these characters, create who they are. Stan Lee, Jack Kirby, they boiled these characters down to their essentials, and people love these characters. They stood the decades of time. And then if you just turn your back on it and just say, okay, well, this character is going to be this, you're not doing those characters justice,
No, you're
and
not.
your core fans are not going to be there, and then all you're left with is potential fans, and who
Right.
knows if they're going to come to you.
They're not going to show up.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
not like you're
Mhm,
and I think and we
mhm,
both work in technology, and there's a role in technology called like an evangelist. So like you'll have a company or vendor and they'll evangelize how great this thing is and da 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 da. And like that's
mhm.
kind of what the super fans are. They evangelize to newer audiences, and
Yep.
they draw people in,
Mhm.
and it's they've turned that model inside out, like where they're
Yeah.
like, oh, we don't need you guys can go home. And then
Yep.
we'll cater to new money and new fans, and the new money and the new fans might not stick around. Maybe we're wrong, but I don't think so.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. The like like we said, the core fans are there, and so
Rain or
those are
shine.
built in.
Right.
And that's why you paid $4 billion for Marvel. That's why you paid $4 billion for Star Wars.
Right.
For those properties. Why would you then go in with a sledgehammer and destroy them
Right.
by doing something that will piss off the fans?
Repeatedly too.
Yeah,
Repeatedly. Like,
yeah, absolutely.
yeah.
For the fan that may be there.
Right. Right. Yeah. Like
Mhm,
if like you can't do that. Like, and the thing that Sony caught lightning with was Venom, and
mhm,
that did catch lightning.
mhm,
And it was good, legitimately good non-Marvel film
mhm,
that hit. It was great. I loved it. I
mhm,
remember seeing that with the theater. I was excited. I got all I got all nerded up on it. And then I think my dad and my brother saw Venom too, and like I knew it was coming out, but like I just didn't return. I haven't even seen it yet, and
mhm.
from what I've heard is kind of take it or leave it, which is fine. But like,
Yeah.
like you guys only have so much rope, and then you kind of
Mhm.
I don't know. It
Yeah.
just sucks. It just sucks.
Yeah. And Venom is there because the fans were there.
Right.
With Morbius and even Craven the Hunter, they're lesser known Spider-Man characters. So the
Right.
fans aren't going to be there in droves like Venom are. But if you treat the characters and don't treat them with the respect that they should have, and with what the fans think you should treat the characters with, they're not going to be there for them, and nor will the regular fans that don't know who Craven is.
Right. Yeah. And this cutting just goes to
Mhm,
show that there is, and not getting into dipping into the culture wars or anything like that, but like the fact that there are YouTube channels that make money hand over fist, and not just one or two of them. There's dozens. And we have some kind of overlap for ones that we've seen, and I like to build them as like the hate watchers or whatever. And
mhm,
occasionally I like to have a hot take or whatever, just because it's good entertainment.
mhm,
I mean, it's I watch a million other things. Of course, it's YouTube, so it's shorter form, shorter
mhm.
clips for YouTube anyway. But
Yeah.
the fact that there's like this whole cottage industry built around it, like just built around
Mhm,
dissatisfied fans, just didn't know where to
mhm.
go.
Yep.
Like we are in we are not in not so fun times as far as content goes, but who knows? Like
Mhm,
the one thing is that this is why I love comic books though. Sales might drop over decade, but it's at some point there's still that magic there that it still
mhm.
has that nostalgia
Yep.
factor, which is what you and I have touched on, just for the love of the thing, you know.
Oh, and just to speak on the love of comic books, last week was like a really good week for comic books, and I won't spend too much time on it. I'll do a quick rapid fire thing of
Sure.
it. I don't know if you read it, but Batman Chip Zdarsky's Batman was really
Okay.
good.
All right, I have to
That
catch up
one,
on.
that one's killer. Joker. This
Huh.
ends the run of Tinian. Tinian's run on Joker. Really good. Is it would be more characteristic of saying it's Jim Gordon's comic
Okay.
book, but that doesn't sell comics. So
Right.
basically, it was Jim Gordon hunting down the Joker. Great comic book. If that comes about in trade paperback, definitely check it out. Flashpoint Beyond. I don't know if you got the latest issue of that with the Superman multiverse Superman. It was outstanding.
Dang, I need to catch up. Yeah, my
Yeah,
comic book has been kind of light because I've been moving and I don't have all that much
yeah,
time to dedicate to it. Hoping
yeah,
that'll settle down. But yeah, these are
mhm,
good. There's a
yeah,
lot of good storylines thanks to you I got into that I need to catch
mhm,
up on, and I love
yeah,
that. I love
yeah,
that they don't go anywhere. You know.
yeah, yeah. And another great one, Ghost Rider.
Right.
Ghost
That's right.
Rider. It's been amazing. This is issue 4. I think Benjamin Percy, yeah, he's writing it. It's really great. There's like this he was kind of locked into this kind of fantasy world, and he kind of broke out of it.
Okay.
But the spirit of Ghost Rider is kind of rebelling against Johnny Blaze, the actual Ghost Rider. And there's like a there's like a seam in the back of his head that there's these eyeballs that are coming out that he
Huh.
may be possessed by something else. That is really cool. That I'm really enjoying about it. And then the newest issue of Dark Crisis came out.
Awesome.
The second issue, that's really good. It really cements Deathstroke as a really big villain in this, and that's really good. Let's see, another great one that I really enjoyed was Avengers Forever. This is
Okay.
sort of like a multiverse kind of thing going on, and this one sort of focuses on different Steve Rogers, Captain America, and there's like a dog version of Captain America. Basically, they're locked into this sort of like it could be like a prison, and various versions of Captain America are trying to break out of it, and eventually they break out of it, and they found out is a training ground for multiverse Captain Americas to fight these multiverse villains.
Huh.
Which is kind of cool. But yeah, I mean, there's
Damn,
just
I need to
kind of,
catch up.
yeah. And I think that's pretty much it. There is my recommendation. I think I sent it to you, Starhenge,
Yep, I have that
which
preloaded.
is,
Yeah, this
yeah.
website that we like to use was down.
Mhm,
So we wanted to keep this up. And
yeah.
we'll make sure I add those other ones to this um, post show in the
Mhm,
in the description
mhm.
down below.
And this one came out last week. I wasn't sure I wanted it. I went ahead and picked it up, and
Hmm.
I really enjoyed it. Liam Sharp, he's a great artist, but he wrote and did the art for this. Basically, it's a futuristic story that takes place in the future, and they're fighting these kind of robotic enemies, sort of like say the Butlerian
Jihad.
jihad from Dune, or say Terminator, the machines of Terminator. Basically, they decide that to defeat these machines, they have to go back into
Hmm.
the history of humans and fight them with magic. So they
That's
go
pretty
back
cool, actually.
to find Merlin, and these the villains, these machines are really cool because they try to scare the humans with themselves. So they put these skulls on their robotic faces to
Okay.
scare the humans. So
Huh.
it makes it really kind of creepy and cool looking. But yeah, this first comic was really good. I really enjoyed it, and
Artwork looks really cool.
yeah, so it's a definite recommend. It came out last week, but yeah, if you're in the comic book store this week, see if they still have a copy
I
and
almost
pick that
did a
up.
no.
Uh-oh.
I forgot that the website's not live and I was going to lose it. Oh yeah,
Yeah,
that's
gonna
very
click
cool.
on it.
Yeah, yeah. You did have one news item real quick before we jump back into the comic books. The Batman one.
Oh
Um,
yeah, yeah. If you want to go ahead and pull it up real quick.
or if you want to
Talk
cover
about
that
it.
to the end, we can push it because you were already in the middle of your Starhenge.
Oh, yeah, we could talk about it real quick.
Okay.
Yeah, basically there was a comic book that came out a few weeks back, Batman Fortress, and it was a great comic book. Both issue 1 and 2 came out, but issue 1 featured a scene where Batman noticed these group of people breaking into different stores and robbing them, and was like, oh well, that's not really my focus. And I'm
Okay.
going to look for other bigger crimes. And that's, I mean, that's basically, I guess, maybe the opinion of the writer that's writing the comic book, but that doesn't really hold true to Batman as a character.
No.
And in the fact that a few pages before that, these guys were breaking into Wayne Manor, and Batman beat the crap out of them, defending his property. Uh, and then later on, was like, okay, the guys can rob rob stores. That's cool.
Right.
But yeah, it's it's really kind of sad that this kind of takes place good, because the comic books are actually really good, and I enjoyed the first 2 issues outside that. But yeah, it seems like sometimes comic books, the writers politics kind of lean into it, and to the detriment of the comic book.
Yeah, it'd be one thing if it was topical, but like we're already
Mhm.
2 or 3 years out from those particular things. Well,
Mhm.
2 years for sure. That
Yeah,
they're
absolutely.
mentioning that where it was just like all over the news, and it was
Mhm.
like not getting into this or that, but like I
Right.
don't like it's one thing like when because they did it all the time in the 60s. They did
Mhm.
I remember watching a documentary about how the comic book authority would have to
Mhm.
rate it was a censorship board essentially back in the day, and like they would want to do risque things and they'd do it artistically. So like when there was a like implied love making between a couple characters, like I can't remember the exact comic book, but they kind of zoomed out in like one panel and they showed a gun in a holster, and that was kind of like use your imagination, but very creative way to do that. But
Mhm.
they would cover, they're no strangers to covering it, but they covered it topically and different era, and like this kind
Mhm.
of it's kind of like it's like a storyline in search of an audience,
Yeah. Yeah.
doing it so much
Yeah.
later on.
Yeah, and as far as the comic book code, that's a whole interesting.
That's right, comic book
Uh,
code. We'll
yeah,
do a show on that
that's a whole interesting topic in and of itself. We could do a whole show on it. But
for
I
sure.
remember reading Roy Thomas. He was the writer of the Conan comic book during the '70s, and he he recounted some of his interactions with comic code while he was working on Conan in some of the omnibuses that they put out. And he said that the at the time the comic book code guy that was the head guy was a fan of Conan. He would
Oh,
call
that's
up the
funny.
guy and was like, what can we do to get this to slide by? And he would tell them what they could do to get by the comic
That's
book
awesome.
censors.
Right,
But
right, right. That's funny. That's funny.
mhm,
Look, yeah, that this is more it's just one thing. It's just one thing. And of course,
mhm,
um I think this is more true nowadays than anything else, but like the PT Barnum said there's a sucker born every minute.
mhm,
And then there's also I think he said I might be misattributing it to him, but like even bad publicity is good, because it's
mhm.
attention. And
Yep.
Boy, they have written novels about that particular thing for good and bad, like but anyway, kind of moving on.
Yep.
So you had number 2 on your list was Daredevil number 1.
Yeah. If you remember last week, I recommended Batman because it was being written by Chip Zdarsky, and this is the triumphant return of Chip Zdarsky on his run on Daredevil. This is a new storyline for Daredevil, so in their infinite wisdom, they're going to start renumber Daredevil with issue number 1, and it would be a good time to if you're interested in Daredevil to get in on Daredevil on issue number 1. It'll be out this Wednesday, so today if you're watching, and check it out. I definitely recommend. Chip is a great writer for Daredevil. He's written him for the last 2 or 3 years, and
Awesome.
He's a great writer. He's really revitalized Daredevil as a character.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's awesome. And my first big real kind of fall in love with that character was the Netflix on the small screen when Daredevil, and that was back when they did a very good job of that. And even season 2 of Daredevil, where they had the Punisher cameo, it was essentially like Punisher 0.05 season, because he was pretty pivotal in that. But anyway, it just kind of set up John Barenthal's Punisher. But that's where I was like, oh damn, I really love this character. And I did go back and read it, 1 or 2 storylines, but nothing that I remember really.
Yeah.
But
if you like the show, this comic book will be right up your alley.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. I was going to say too, I had one comic book kind of shout out that I wanted to mention. And it's one that I kind of ran over, just came out, or it's going to be coming out, which is a Rippaverse. There's a YouTube creator called Rippa59. He's got a YouTube channel, and he kind of covers a little bit of the comic book world and culture things and this and that. But he has put his money where his mouth is, and he's always aspired to be a creator, and I love that. I love that. Again, we always try to highlight the creators in this, because like I can't do anything like that. Maybe I can one day. Maybe I can one day. But I just love that. I don't know, if it's any good or not. I don't know, but I'm going to give it a hell of a shot. And I want to give him my money. Like I want to see more of this. I want to see more of that. And of course, we've covered. You have mentioned these things too, over time, like good books to get in on, or Kickstarters and whatnot, for supporting directly you, the fan, to the creator. And there's nothing but gold in those hills for sure. But I just wanted to give a shout out to this, and check it out. I think you can get it online, but I'm not quite sure the distribution of it, but it's independent. I
think it's from what I understand, and I'm familiar with it. It's sort of like Kickstarter in that you can order like Kickstarter, but these have already been printed, that they're already a guarantee. So when you order them, you're going to get those. It's sort of exciting. The independent scene have been talking about it, and it's sort of like making the waves as far as indie comic books are concerned.
And this raised a hell of a bit of money, and I have no doubt that Rippa 59 will do justice to this for sure. But anyway, just the kind of like a down, like for he's one of us, and it's just nice to be able to see a fan become a creator. And I believe that's been one of his lifelong dreams. Good for him.
And actually to stack on to that, let me see if I can find it. There's another
and while you're doing that, I will pull up his YouTube channel and give him a shout out.
Definitely.
while you're doing that,
Trying to
you know,
pull
he's got
something up here.
he's got a
Yeah.
comic book YouTube channel, and I think this is going to be a joint recommendation on both of our sides. But he's just a cool guy, that you know, just plays it down the middle. Has an opinion for sure. Sometimes you like it, sometimes you don't. But more often than not, I want to hear realness. I want to hear authenticity, and I think that's what a lot of fans want to hear too, and want to see. And we've just got so much. You know, there's just the perverse act of like a big megacorp buying out other big megacorp, just kind of loses its appeal over time. But with that being said, what was the? Did you find your link, or are you still working on it?
I'm still looking for it. It seems like you try to look for
Yeah,
something.
and I don't know what it's called. Like, okay, like so you and I also kind of fell into the law tube, proverbial law tube ring on YouTube, and I don't know what they call this, but like I know Nerdrotic, DVD Overlord, Geeks and Gamers. I'm trying to think of like Nerdrotic's crew that he hangs out with, but I know Rippa did I missed it, but he came on one of the live streams and was like talking about this like a few days before. I think it was even last week, but in the roll up to releasing Rippaverse. But that's awesome. That's awesome. Like I said, I can't talk about it enough, you know. And like I said, some people have hot takes, but sometimes, like to quote the quartering, that's another one that he'll have, but he has overlap with Rick and some other guys too. But what does he say? He's spicy.
Yeah, definitely. Looks like maybe I can't find it, so
That's okay.
we'll move on to something else.
Eric July, sorry, Eric July is Rippa's.
Rippa's
And
name.
I was wrong. It was young Rippa 59. I said Rippa 59, but you know.
I found it. Okay.
Okay, cool. Yeah, send it over.
Yeah. This one's actually a really good deal. And it's live right now. I don't know how. Let's see. Let me send that to you. Here you go. Go ahead and put that up. I've read the first two graphic novels, and I need to get caught up on it, and this would be a great time to do it. But Richard C. Meyer, he's in Splato comic books. He has an Indiegogo. His group's sort of called Jawbreakers. It's sort of like a mix of G.I. Joe and sort of superheroes. They're sort of like military guys that are also superheroes. And his newest comic book, Jawbreakers Forever, he's selling it for $1. Normally his normally the graphic novels on Indiegogo kind of goes about $25. So basically, in his sort of gimmick is that you're going to buy Jawbreakers Forever for $1, but maybe you'll buy a previous Jawbreakers comic book for 25, so it kind of evens out. And so he said that as long as they're selling to a customer, as far as someone's buying the $1 comic book, and also one of the older graphic novels for 25, that he'll keep that deal going, which is a great deal. And if you look at the artwork, it looks really good.
Really good. Yeah, I was gonna say, like, that comes to mind, Doorbuster. Get them in the door, and then and then grab them while you can. That's awesome.
Yeah, and like you see, there he's broke $100,000. And yeah.
Oh hell yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. So if you kind of like the kind of action-packed sort of G.I. Joe kind of military superhero comic book,
I was gonna say, it kind of gave me that some of the characters look like that from like, not in this panel, but a few ones down, like where they're
yeah,
it's like winter. Yeah, this one like really reminded me of that.
Yeah, and he's actually a military guy, so
Oh, that's
He's
awesome.
got the military stuff on lockdown. So
Good.
but
Veteran
yeah,
too.
yep.
Good for
So
him.
yeah, if this looks cool, go ahead and back it, and I'm sure he'll appreciate it.
Cool. Well, we're rolling up on the caboose here of the show, and with
Hmm.
that being said, you have a YouTube one, and I saw this. I saw it when we started the show, or just before when we were getting all the links ready, and
Yep.
I was like, oh my God, what is this about?
What is it about?
Yeah.
It's I don't have a bleep button, but it's a bleep face.
Right.
F face. Basically it's a podcast.
Oh, okay.
The guys from Rooster Teeth, they're sort of they're the pioneers for machinima, and one of the forefathers for that, Jeff Ramsey, he's one of the guys from F Face. Basically it's him, uh Gavin, which is a British guy, and Andrew, which is a Canadian guy. It's the three of them doing a podcast. They're uh, a group of knuckleheads that have an interesting view on life. Uh, and basically, what I would recommend if you like them is to start with episode 1
Okay.
and start from there, because they kind of like we like to do, but they're much better at it. They kind of build a multiverse, so they build upon each episode in that they kind of reference things, and they're just a hilarious group of guys that talk about everything from baseball to video games to movies to anything that's on their mind, and anything that's on their mind is pretty hilarious. So
That's awesome.
uh and there's some videos, most of it is audio mostly. On some of them, if they talk about certain images, they'll bring it up on their YouTube channel,
Hmm.
so you can see the actual pictures, but it's pretty much audio only. On their YouTube channel there are some video segments. One time they decided that they wanted to create a bean hole, which I guess back in the day people would build a hole and start it on fire to build up some warm up some beans for, for like people working out in the field. And Jeff decided that that would be a cool idea to do. So they have a video of that, and you can see whether or not that was successful or not.
It's awesome. Good recommend. Yeah.
Hmm.
Good channel. Yeah, for mine, I had one Sweeneytv as what kind of one I ran into, and it's a low time, 225K subscriber count, and
Hmm.
and basically I provide off color and weird social commentary on the internet, and I love it because he'll do like a TikTok phenomenon or something like that, or a thing, and he'll act like he's like the giving either the judge or the commentator, and
Hmm.
it's just hilarious. It's just really
Hmm.
funny. Probably one of the black hole YouTubes, but I ran into, and I was just like, it auto recommended it, and it was just hilarious. And I love it. And of course, I'm
That's
viewing
cool.
this with our YouTube channel, so you can't see my YouTube channel. But
Hmm.
anyway, this one is good. It's just really quick, irrelevant takes on hot takes. Not really hot takes, just funny
Hmm.
things, just poking fun at everything. Nothing is sacred, kind of thing.
Hmm.
Um, he does kind of a thing like where he'll talk about how men should approach women, and like or from the standpoint of like a YouTube censor or something like that, like what they would see and what they can
Hmm.
allow and what they can't allow. It's just really good. Just
That's cool.
good good for a chuckle. But anyway,
Yep.
oh, and then I had one last one. I guess I forgot to cover it. We've kind of been slapdash. We've covered everything, right?
Yeah,
Um,
we went all over the place.
yeah, but I'm a Atomic Thomas is the comic book hero here. He knows everything there is to know about comic books. Not really, but like I'm gassing you up. But yeah, you know a lot more than I do. And my bag is the sci-fi, like more sci-fi novels, which I haven't covered in a minute, but that hasn't been really too much I've read that is warrant attention. But anyway, the Starfield is a big, huge thing that they've been working on forever. And now it's kind of finally coming. I don't know when exactly it's coming out, but coming out soonish, I guess. But I don't know. I don't want to hype anything up, but I really hope that this is something really cool, and really works for it. I hope for the best for this, because God knows. Bethesda is like one of the last ones that that they'll hype something and then they'll release it like Fallout 76, and it was garbage, and it was a disappointment to a lot of folks, and I think they fixed a lot of it, but like by that time I don't care. It was time to move on. But hopefully this is something that is cool, and that we'll kind of keep an eye on this. And at some point, Thomas and I have talked about this for a long time. And when things settle down on my end, probably more towards the end of the month, or maybe even August, we want to get into video gaming and just playing a thing, just having a free form kind of thing and hanging out.
Yeah.
And where we can invite folks on and kind of play with them and see how it goes. But anyway, that's to be determined. But in any case, I just hope springs eternal, kind of sort of thing. Of course, Microsoft bought out Bethesda. I don't think that's a bad thing, to be honest with you. Microsoft is a very good steward of things. There's going to be a lot of people that disagree with me on that, but Microsoft is one of the bigger tech giants that I've been pleasantly surprised as time has gone on.
They sort of buy things and then let the creatives do the creative thing. So that's and then Bethesda, if those out there aren't familiar with them, they brought you Skyrim and Fallout. So Starfield should be cool. Maybe not. Maybe it is. It's one of those that are on my radar. So yeah, definitely. And there was a couple of shows that I wanted to recommend.
Shoot.
That people probably already watching. Westworld. I don't know if you've been watching those. I don't know if you see in the past seasons.
No, I really love that show. And bear with me here, because I'm going to try to do this a little bit nicer and neater to do this, but I'm going to drop that into this Westworld. I'm going to find the IMDb link. Actually, you know what? That's fine. But this is one that I fell off after season 2. I didn't make it all the way through, and that was not because I didn't like it or whatever. I just got busy. And I had seen this in my HBO app, HBO Go app, and I was like, damn, that looks really. I want to see it. But there's so much that I'm down on. But is this one good?
Yeah, I'm
Please God, tell me that it's good.
Yeah. I'm only 2 episodes in, but
okay.
I liked season 3, but it didn't wow me. But this season so far has been good.
Right.
I'm also I actually kind of pushed aside last year or the year before Stranger Things, but I heard good things about the newest seasons of it, so I picked up and started watching Stranger Things again. So I'm enjoying it. It's not the best thing in the world, and I don't know if I recommend it if you're not really into it, but it's okay. And then the last thing I will recommend is What We Do in the Shadows. The new season starts this week. It's a vampire comedy that started off as a movie, but now as a series, and I think it's season 4 that's going on right now.
Okay.
That's starting.
Okay, I think I've heard of this on the periphery, but I just never kind of circled back to it. But this is going to be coming out tomorrow. It says so tomorrow.
And TT Waititi, he did the movie, and he did. I think he was heavily involved in the first couple of seasons, and then he handed off to some other showrunners for season 3, and season 3 was really, really good. So I'm really excited about season 4.
Okay.
And yeah, and Matt Berry is one of the stars of it, and he is an absolute gem. He is my favorite British actor. He could do whatever he wants. He also is a great singer. And one of the things I didn't bring up in our commentary of Jackie Chan is that Jackie Chan sang the theme song of Police Story at the end of Police Story. So this is sort of like an Easter egg for our podcast.
Very cool. Very cool. Laszlo. I wonder if there's a crossover for Laszlo. Like that name's very, very particular, but interesting. Huh.
But yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
I'm a big Matt Berry stan, so
awesome. Yeah.
So the kids know what that means.
Oh man. Yeah, I'll have to jump on some of these and catch up. Stranger Things, I watched it through season 2. Season 3 I didn't really get into.
Yeah, I watched the first couple episodes of Stranger Things, and then I was like, I'm done. And then I started watching it over the weekend. I watched the 3rd episode of the 3rd season. I was like, I kind of like this, so I started watching it again. So
yeah, I need to catch up on it because I have heard nothing but good things. And it's just like, it's one of those things like where I think there's a couple other shows that I was more into that grabbed my attention. But yeah, they've done right by this one for sure.
And one other recommendation at the very end here, I started watching the animated show on Netflix called JoJo Bizarre Adventures. It's a Japanese animation. That one's so crazy. I'm like 3 episodes in, and I don't know if it's intentionally funny. I'm pretty sure it is. The first season takes place in Britain. I think each season takes place during a different time and period and place. But I'm I'm like I'm totally into it so far. I could like turn totally against it, but yeah, it's a crazy show.
Very cool. Awesome.
But yeah, I'm done. I'm done.
You're good.
I'm
yeah.
good.
Awesome. Yeah, I think that we got a action-packed grab bag for sure. It was bigger than Santa Claus's bag on Christmas.
Yep, it's gonna be hard to close it up, but we'll try.
Yeah, but this has been Mike,
and this is Thomas.
And keep watching. We'll see you next week.
Yep. See you in the funny pages.